Welcome, everybody, to another Sober Life podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jones. I got a great guest, but before I tell you about our guest, I just want to, first of all, say happy holidays to everybody going into our new year. I hope all is well. We'll talk about that as well during the show. But reminder, please like this show, share it with your friends, leave comments because we do see those, and certainly subscribe so you know when we have other shows coming up. Mica Robbins is with us, and Mica, well, I'm not going to get into all the things he does because we don't have that kind of time, actually.
When you know, let me know.
But Mica, we've been friends for a couple of years now, 4 or 5 years.
More than we know.
Yeah, I know. We've been running in the same circles.
Exactly.
We'll say, and you're a lot like me. You're kind of loud and out there, and just there's a way to say that.
It says right out there, live out loud.
Live out loud. You're an entertainer. Have you always been that way?
Yes.
Really?
Those that know me and have grown up and seen me, they're like, I came out this way. This is the way I've always been.
I mean, I've spent
little kid
most of my life emceeing events, and I come to and when there's an event down here, it's if I'm not doing it, you're doing it. That's right. You're emceeing it.
That's what we do.
But I just came out the same way. Yeah. I mean, I've always been one of those people. Give me a crowd.
Yeah,
the more people, the more comfortable I am. So I stood in Veterans Stadium, got 45,000 people, and I'm talking, and it's like I'm comfortable. One-on-one, I'm not as good at.
Well, it's true.
Do you get that too?
I do.
It doesn't give me enough energy.
I think that's it. I think you got to feed off it.
Yeah, we're energy vampires, people.
Energy vampires.
So
I just realized energy vampire. I'm like, it's like chilly down here today in Florida, and I have this. I was like, it's like on camera, I look like General Zod.
Yeah, just that is good, General Zod. I like that.
You kids, let's see if you remember that one. Kneel before Zod.
Yeah, now you went through your issues and found your recovery and did all that.
Look, we all come from a different place, different flavor, different experience. We're just talking about in the next room, we're talking about experiences and what have you. And if you don't let your experience inform your now, we're missing something. Right? Yeah. No matter what it was, how it was, everybody's different. Everybody comes to this table from a different place. We don't care how you get here.
No. And the thing is, you can't look at that stuff. And you can, I guess you can if you want. You can look back on your past and the mistakes or the experiences or the real F-ups, we could say. And you could look down on that and be ashamed of that and stuff. But what's the point of that? Everything you did got you to where you are right now. If you're happy with where you are at this moment, maybe you're married, but got a kid, maybe you like your job, whatever. All of that was provided because you did what you did.
Right.
So there's reasoning behind it. Doesn't mean we have to be, I'm not proud of some of the things I did.
Sure.
I can't be shameful about
it. Up until now, a shout out to a good friend of mine who gave it that up until now. All those things happened up until now.
Right.
Now you're here. And you're right. You got to look, there's a reason why they process these things and you do therapeutic modalities, and it's critical to understand who you are to get to find out where you are now. Yeah. But guess what? No matter where you are, here you are. So, yeah. Which brings us to the now, right? And we're at the holidays, right?
We're in the holidays. Now, you and I have been around long enough to know that this is a stressful time.
Very stressful time.
And a lot of people kind of step away from their self-care during this time, and that's a bad idea.
Yes. For those anybody that's in this space, there's a recovery and gym memberships have strong correlations.
Please.
So, you kind of let all that stuff go at the holidays. Then it comes January 1st. I got to tune it back up. So people get back to, first of all, they sign up for their gym. Generally, thanks to good supports, recovery usually sticks better than gym memberships. So,
well, I just signed up for a gym because I really want to lose $30 a month.
Well, I used to joke. I always said I'm a very charitable person. I work in the nonprofit space, spent my whole career there. And I was like, my favorite nonprofit and charity all those years was Gold's Gym. I had this little badge. I could go in. I could hit the thing. There's kids in there doing good stuff, working out. I go in and clap and give them money every month, and leave feeling really good about myself. And then I found out it wasn't technically tax deductible. I'm like, what kind of ripoff is this?
Well, and then now they got this new thing. You go in, it's like, Oh, I only paying $10 a month. That's okay. If I don't go, it's okay.
Yeah.
But what I forgot was I met Marco from the Greek islands,
Yeah.
Who's like one of the gods.
Yeah. And
he signed me up for $50 a month so I can follow his program.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, it's like it goes up and up.
Yeah.
But I'm really more concerned with people understanding we're hustling and bustling, trying to finish out the year for business, getting ready for the new year, Christmas and whatever your Kwanzaa and
we just
all
finished
the other
Hanukkah.
holidays. Hanukkah
Just finished.
A lot of time with families, a lot of parties to go to for different companies or whatever. It's really easy to forget to take care of yourself during that time and say, well, I won't go to my meeting or I won't see my therapist or I'm just going to buck it up. I'm not going to eat healthy and do those things. This is the time when you really have to do that more.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you have a crisis.
Oh, you said it, Scott.
Right?
Brother Scott, preach it.
Yes, no. If you use your program, that whatever program you use for your self-care, if you only use it to help when you're not feeling good, if you go in like I need a recharge,
right?
It's never going to be anything more than a crisis stopping point. But if you make it a part of your life it becomes something that's even more, something better, it's fulfilling and it's warmth, it's everything. Just plan a few extra times during the holidays to take care of yourself.
Exactly. And also remember what they're about. I think we get so programmed to what other people think the holiday should be for us. Right. I mean, and we go down the rabbit hole of our current culture, and don't get me wrong, I love my holiday time. I love all of it. But at the end of the day, it's not about stuff, And so the stuff is, if it's the people you care, yourself, you care about you, and this is a time for being charitable, for being engaged, for thinking for once, for a whole week, a year, we actually think about our fellow human beings. Why is this the exception, not the norm? Right?
Thank you.
And you do that, it's Christmas every day.
Absolutely. And,
didn't he say that? Was it John Lennon? There he is right there on the wall.
Yeah, there he is. One of the things that I love is I've learned in my age, not when I was younger, but
don't point at me for younger.
The greatest gift that I can give anybody is my time.
That's it.
And the greatest gift I can receive from my kids, my friends, whatever, it's just a little bit of time. Yeah. I spent 2 hours on the phone with my daughter yesterday, and we were talking about, we're not going to do a lot for Christmas. And she goes, Dad, this conversation was all I needed.
That's it.
It was 2 hours.
That's it.
That's it.
And it's
that and an Amazon gift card.
And an Amazon gift card. But that's low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah,
but,
really.
I know for my mom, what do you want? I was like, a loaf of your cinnamon bread, Mom.
Yeah,
that's it. What do I need? What do I need at this point? Stuff is stuff. What do we need? Don't get me wrong. There's things I like, but it doesn't mean I need them. And I don't want to put someone out to get them. Let's spend that time, because that is, and as we do get older, there's, as they say, more in the rear view than in the windshield. Mm-hmm. That's all we got.
And the time that we spend is more valuable now.
It is.
Because we had all the time in the world years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm starting to think, I moan when I get up in the morning. That's not good.
That's right.
That's before I even move.
By the way, you're not even upset.
Exactly.
I think that the idea of that time, but within that too, is for others to understand, and for ourselves too, that be a valuable time, not only to yourself, but to others. Don't be a thief of your time or others' time.
Right.
And I'm a bass player, so I don't write songs.
Hey, Paul McCartney did.
But he's
the exception. I got it.
He only went to the bass. Big difference. He went to the bass, right? Had to be the bass player. But I always thought there's got, maybe Dylan already wrote it, but there's time thief or thief of time is either an album name or a song name. It's got to be. If really, not, you're going. You're right.
You got me something going there.
You can write it. I'll put a lousy bass line on it. Trust me.
We'll do it together. I'll
get that together. And I got to use the Hofner. That's my only. That's it. It's all yours. I just get to play the Hofner on it.
You got it. Yeah. You got it. I should stop throwing darts at it. It's a bass.
It's a bass.
What do you call it? What do you call a bass player when he breaks up with his girlfriend? Homeless. Yeah. I'm just kidding. A lot of great bass players out there. If I knew any, I'd tell you who they are.
Hey-o!
Mike is one of them.
Yes. How about let's talk drummers. Let's talk about drummers, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah,
there's no jokes about drummers. What do you call a drummer? Employed. All right. Yeah. Well, there's no joke.
If you're good,
if you're a good drummer, you're good.
I'll tell you. No, we both love all this stuff, this music and everything, and we're having fun. There's a lot of serious stuff going on right now.
Very serious.
You've been working in the nonprofit for a while. At the where was
all the nonprofits?
Well, the one you've recently been doing.
Formerly, I was with the Palm Beach County Behavioral Health Coalition, which I'm still engaged with. Of course, they're a wonderful organization. But that, as we look at primarily prevention, but on the flip side, I very proudly work for the Community Recovery Hub of Palm Beach County, which is a recovery community center, which looks specifically at recovery, but not. It looks at all recovery, right? It looks at the community of recovery. It looks at the assets people create for their own recovery. So prevention is a piece of that. Once someone's in recovery, hey, welcome back to prevention. But it really is about building those environments that people can succeed in recovery. And that, when we look at the community, that's one of my things when I sort of got into this space was that let's stop looking at the recovery community as the recovery community. It's like, this is our community. This is our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. Statistically, you are either that person or you're one person away, either a loved one, spouse, close friend from someone with an issue. That's the world we live in, guys. So we have to embrace this as a community. This is the number one health crisis in the United States.
And because of your involvement with the Palm Beach County, the coalition there in the behavioral health, you've seen the numbers. I mean, some of us, we're not winning this war.
We're not winning. There will be no win. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, we save lives. You save one life. That's better than anything you could ever do.
Absolutely.
You are never getting rid of drugs and alcohol. They're not going away. They're only getting more powerful, more potent, more invasive. The reason why people do drugs and alcohol, it's not because on Tuesday someone wakes up and says, it's a great idea today. I think I want to shoot some fentanyl because, I could play Super Mario or I could shoot fentanyl. No.
Yeah.
You are feeling something that you do not want to feel, that's uncomfortable, whatever that is inside of you. And man, please take this away and welcome to something that can take it away. And the old joke is, hey, drugs are fantastic until they aren't. Guess what, gang? The aren't always shows up.
Yeah.
Always shows up.
I follow you. And when I say we're not winning, I mean every person we help is a win.
That's a win. Yeah.
Victory.
No. It's.
But as far as the overall battle,
right.
And I think part of what we're seeing is a little bit more connection between helping people with mental health and helping people with addiction. You can't do one or the other. No. You got to do both.
Well, what is it? Is it 91% correlation rate between behavioral health and
I've
addiction?
heard everything from 70 to 90.
It's high 80s to 90.
So
absolutely. It's in there because it's going to go up and down a little bit. But there's 43 million people in America today that could use those services of recovery, that could enter recovery today. If they all went into any system we have would be completely overrun and overwhelmed instantly if everybody that needed the support and needed that help showed up today and said, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
We could.
So no, I mean, it's insane. So when I say that, and I think you make a really good point, is that when it comes to, and I think of my brothers and sisters at DEA and law enforcement who do an amazing job, right?
Absolutely.
What they interdict, but even on the best, all of them firing on all cylinders, if they're taking out 10% of the drug supply, right? They're making a statement, but they've progressed into, they're going after, they know it's like, we're not going to arrest our way out of the drug problem. This is not the way it's going to work. We got to get people help. The overwhelming attitude in law enforcement, let's get people help. I don't need to have someone who's suffering from addiction as a criminal. I need them getting help so they're back in society.
Right.
Look, when you kill 120,000 basically young people in this country every year, this isn't all drug. This is just the fentanyl epidemic.
Yeah.
Which is the bagochemicals epidemic now. It's a poisoning epidemic.
Well, I know for a fact opiates have killed 750,000 in the last 20 years.
Yeah. And by the way, in that 20 years,
the way those numbers are going,
it's been higher in the last 5.
The next 20 years, they're predicting 3 million if it stays on that track.
Stays on that track. And I am a positive person, and I think we all do great work. I don't see how we reverse that number. However, you have to think of all the folks that could have gone that path, that if we do not provide the love, the support, the community, guys, naloxone. Think of that for a second. 120,000 last year. If we didn't have naloxone out the way it is now, it could have been triple. So,
yeah,
it's the what's the what.
You might be thinking of that as Narcan. If you're listening, that's what they talk about, and you might see it in the news. Somebody gets hit with Narcan, and it used to be. I mean, when Narcan first came out, one shot of Narcan really was it. You were fine.
Well, it was heroin.
You were fine.
You were on heroin.
Heroin, maybe a couple other little things here and there, but now we're talking about people getting 2-3 hits of this stuff
or more,
and not responding, or responding for a moment, then falling back. The drugs are getting stronger. The recklessness is higher. Mm-hmm. The stigma is better.
Yes.
But it's not where it needs to be. We got a long way to go where it's okay to not be okay, and they ask for help. Right. And if we could address mental health in high schools, why do high schools teach you this? You have to take an extra language. How about you have to learn about mental health? Yeah. You have to learn about recognizing depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. You have to learn about that stuff. You go into your health, and they'll give you a story about drugs, maybe, but they don't talk to you about the whole story.
It's always usually about the what, right? And I remember, and you remember that, and they're still cool. I still like them, but you had the big suitcase that had all the drugs in it. All the glass, like a museum piece.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, well, where do I get 6 of those and 5 of those? But the Larry has 4 of those. Okay, no. Yeah. But
Bob, isn't that what you got in your pocket?
Yeah. Like, how come yours are green? Anyways, but there's that. But you said it. You said it, and it's perfect. That's the what, not the why. Yeah. That's the what, not the why. We know the consequence, right? Let's get to the antecedent. Let's get the ABC, antecedent behavior consequent, right? Let's get to the antecedent. Why, gang? Why are kids feeling this way? Why are suicide rates off the chart? Why are mental health issues in schools off the chart? It's not our schools are a bad place. It's not the teachers are a bad thing. No one's at a bad thing in this. It's that we have whatever the special sauce we have right now, people are feeling major stress. So we got to address that. So the mental health is important. Think of schools too, and I'll throw a shout out to Speak Life and Bullying, card carrying member, looking at the idea of how schools and other environments where bullying plays a huge part into into that, and how subversive that's become because of obviously online. You could show the example of the kid getting slammed in a locker and hitting the books like the old back to school specials. It doesn't usually look like that, but if that gives you a cue that it's the same way, it feels the same way, right? It's the feeling of it. That's what kids go with. The stress of the economy, the stress of mom and dad may not, what they're doing. Our homeless issue is insane. And we're not talking, I don't mean to belittle the issue, but not traditional homeless. We're talking folks that are working 2 jobs and they have to live in their car because they can't afford a place anymore.
Yeah.
These are exits. I'll throw this at you. I'm going to get out my soapbox for a second, but that's why opiates and especially high level THC are so prevalent right now, because they don't just take away the I hurt my ankle pain as I point to my knee.
Yeah. Well, I got you.
Shoulders needed. I'll let my 16-month-old teach me again. Now, Lola Sophia. Anyways, it's existential pain. Opiates take away the pain. Yeah. So it's warm, fuzzy bubble. Who wants to get out of that warm, fuzzy bubble? You could be on a mattress in a flop house, but if you're in the warm, fuzzy bubble.
Well, that is one of the unique things when it's mental health, addictions, or many things like that. You could be in the worst possible situation, even in an abusive relationship, where once you're in it long enough, no matter how bad that elevator is that you're stuck in going down, no matter how awful it is, we'll decorate it the best we can and make it comfortable.
Well, because the elevator, at least the elevator is still taking you up and down.
Yeah, it's all we know. And I don't need somebody to describe the elevator, because I live in the elevator.
You're in it.
Describe that to me. Show me what I can have and show me that it's possible. Yeah. And then show me how to do it.
And also remember that people need supports to do that sometimes. We can, assuming that people, I'm going to put on my FAR hat for a second.
Now, FAR is your new position. Let's introduce that before you put the hat on.
I'm the executive consultant to Florida Association of Recovery Residences. FAR. For those that know that, it is
so
the certified.
Essentially, right now you're kind of the adjunct director
Adjunct,
while you're putting things together.
Yeah. Well, it's also it's an amazing organization, been around for a number of years. It's also the state sanctioned body to accredit sober living.
Right.
It's a certified body. Now it's quasi-voluntary because there's certain aspects to it, but that's keep the policy and all that stuff. The bottom line is, when someone is entering an environment where they're at they're most vulnerable at that point. You've just uncorked everything in treatment. And by the way, let me qualify this: I'm not a therapist. I don't play one on TV, nor is the great Dr. Jones here, even though we call him Doc. But the the idea is that you have this incredible body of work, and then after 30 days, good on you. Go find a house, how to pay for it, find a job. Work your program, probably find some other behavioral supports, maybe reconnect with your family. Blah, 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 blah. We put so much on the back of the newly recovered. Mm-hmm. Why do you think we have such poor results?
Well, that's a big part of it.
And it's and the idea of blaming the person in recovery, it's the community that failed the individual. The individual made those choices to take that path. And then all of a sudden, we don't give them a community or a living. Number one indicator: safe, secure, attainable housing. I'm no rocket scientist. I'm not a rocket scientist. I don't play one on TV. Now,
well, I mean, a lot of these sober living houses were started with the best of intentions.
It's an old model.
A lot of people get out there and they're like, "Oh, I'm in recovery. I got a few bucks. I'm going to get a house. I'm going to because I want to help.
I want to help."
And then what happens is they take a bedroom that's meant for 2 beds and they put 7 beds.
That's right.
And then they start bringing everybody in, and there's no supervision, there's no this, there's no that, there's no accountability. And next thing you know, you got somebody dying in one of these houses.
Or just there's no real recovery happening.
Or constant relapse rate.
That's right.
Because there's no real recovery or programs going along. Yeah. But FAR is kind of like that beacon saying, if you want to do it, we've got the formula.
Right.
And if you do this formula, maybe we'll help a lot more people.
Well, we'll help a lot more people, and we'll build this community of people helping people. There's thousands of recovery residence beds, if you will, in Florida. Florida is a hub of recovery. In Palm Beach County, Broward County in particular, is the epicenter of the epicenter. Mm-hmm. And if that many people are you have a constituency that can move mountains, right? But they got to have a safe environment to do it. They have to have operators that are there for the right reason. And we have, you hear the horror stories, and we've heard the horror stories. But on the flip side of that, we also have the very best of the best. We just have to make the best of the best in the perceptive eye, the norm, not the exception. You know how it is. Any situation, one bad apple turns the cart, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have to create safe environments. We have to. So getting folks engaged, communicating with those folks. One of my big goals is how do we increase the communication between all those? It's a huge network of people. And people are just going about their, I want to run a recovery residence. I got good guys. I got nice, good ladies here. We're doing good work. We just want to do our thing. Absolutely. Things are going good then. But boy, oh boy, how we pull that into the broader recovery community, how we connect our houses to our recovery community centers we've been developing, where it's free. There's no charge. It's another environment where recovery is open, celebrated, and you are celebrated as a person in recovery. Think about that. Someone walks into, back in the day, if you're going to get community services, you're usually walking into the worst space in town. It's like, all right, I'm at the bottom, and how am I treated, and what am I given? More of the bottom. Right. You walk into the hub on Lucerne Avenue or in Delray Beach, it's the nicest space in the area. It's the nicest space in the area. Our county is invested in the fact that we will make our recovery community feel like they are the community.
It's important that those things exist.
100%.
Because it's not like the old days where the church, maybe the local church, was kind of that hub for help. And
everybody. For a lot of our communities, it is still.
But it's not the same. It's not. Communities, they took care of each other.
That's right.
People knew their neighbors. They just like.
You went bowling on Wednesday nights.
Takes a village to raise a child. That's true. Mrs. Smith down the street can smack Johnny around because he was being rude. There was a lot of different kind of attitudes. And we've become much more isolated as people.
100%.
Part of it is technology, whatever it might be. And then COVID on top is just, so having those kind of places is so important.
Yeah. It's like old school to be new school, you know?
Yeah.
And you said that. I'm just remembering growing up in my neighborhood, and that was the same rule. But you literally, and we were just talking earlier, it's like, I can't explain. If I tell people how good it was when I was a kid in my neighborhood, grew up in Bangor, Maine, shout out BGR.
Oh, I love Bangor, Maine.
Yes. That
my first honeymoon, my first wedding was on the Cadillac Island.
Right there, Mount MDI. Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, I love it. I know that place like the back of my hand. But you know, the way you knew you had kids of all ages. They were, you know, you could walk in any door in that neighborhood anytime, unlocked. You know, so and so's having this for dinner. You'd have 8 kids there. My house did boom. My mom was, whatever. The point being is, it was the sense of community. And if you look at those 3 hierarchical protective factors, number 1, we just said it, a place that you know you can lay your head at night. You got to have that sense of place. Number 2, positive relationship with adults. Even as adults, positive relationships with other adults.
Right.
Not bosses, competitors, this and that. Just adults that care about each other. You got people younger or older that you can be a mentor. You always have that. That's one thing in my neighborhood. My dad is amazing. Gave me so many gifts as a person. My mom, amazing person. So many gifts as a person. But I can name all those other neighbors that gave me really amazing gifts too. And all of it collectively. And that's what builds kids, right? If you build the kids right, we still kind of get on our way, but eventually we figure out all those lessons and you get to a certain point and they were actually right. So, but it takes that. So why aren't we doing that now with people that are in their most vulnerable state that have never had that connection? If we don't, I hammer it, if we don't build the community, and if we don't recreate community, none of this is going to happen. We go right back into our silos. We go right back into our isolation. We bury ourselves back in our
What we
phones.
can't do, Micah, is we can't have this secret society thought.
No.
That we are, we hide in church basements
Right.
at our triangle and circle meetings.
There's plenty of other weirdos that hide in church basements. We don't need to,
Yeah. Not going to go there.
There's a couple shout outs I'm not going to make.
I'm a priest. I'm in recovery. From what? All right. No, but it shouldn't be the secret society. We should, as people in recovery, we have a responsibility to normalize our lives in a sense out in the community to say, listen, those things happen, but here's where it goes off the rails right from the start. If you have cancer, okay, your name is Mica.
Yep.
But you have cancer. What do I call you?
Mica.
Right. Okay. You have diabetes. What do I call you?
Exactly.
You're addicted to a substance. You have substance abuse disorder, which is a disease. What do I call you?
I'm an addict.
You're an addict.
Yeah.
You lose your humanity. And that is something that needs to change. Yeah. I understand back years ago when we weren't out and about and everything was kind of like hush hush, but this is a different world we live in. And the more we create these monsters by not even having our own names at the front,
right,
that creates the stigma.
Well, I think
we need to destigmatize that stuff and say, listen, I'm Scott. I happen to have an addiction problem. I happen to be an alcoholic, but I'm Scott.
Right.
I'm still a human being. I'm still a guy in the community. I'm still the guy that you're going to bump into at the supermarket. I'm that guy.
Well, here's the thing. And I throw this at people. Pick any affliction. Cancer, American Cancer Society, American Lung Association, the Easter Seals people, the Lupus Foundation.
Yeah, you're right.
Boom. Pick a cause, pick a chair.
Hemorrhoids.
Yeah, sure. Well,
yeah.
All right, look, it's not good when someone's going to check in. Are you kidding? I'm the president of the Preparation Age of the Americas. What are you talking about? But think about it.
Yeah.
What is that organization for mental health and recovery? We have organizations, but where is that? No one's doing a telethon.
Well, we got National Institution of Health. We got SAM. So we got a few
government.
others.
That's government.
Those are just,
That's
and
government.
basically they can't even agree on the proper statistical information.
Right. But who's out there?
But there's nobody out there actually helping.
There's a bazillion people out there helping.
Right. Not organized.
Not organized, and it's it's always been the same as those that they're serving. It's like, it's a phone call that you create. Our moms, think of our mom advocates, our amazing moms. I hate to say it, they're either moms of loss, right? They've lost their children to this disease, or someone's in active addiction, and they're just being moms, and they kick ass. They're not going to say no. We can't. That's an amazing gift of altruism and just pure love, but it's not a system. We can't as a society be dependent and think that it's okay to be dependent on just the good spirits of people. We can do better than that. We need, again, that spirit to be the prevailing attitude for the systems we create. Not, thank goodness we have it, because we've poured billions of dollars into something that's failing.
Yeah.
Give me a break. They're doing it out of their goodness of their hearts. You're getting paid. What are you doing? So,
that's kind of cool thing about FAR, though.
Yeah.
Florida Addiction Recovery Residences, or Florida Association of Recovery Residences.
We're always good about creating very difficult acronyms.
Is part of NAR, which is the National Association.
Right.
So there is one of those bodies out there trying to make a difference in one aspect of the recovery world.
That's it. Well, and quite frankly, the most important. What's the number one indicator? By the few data points we have in the success rate is like, if we can create that safe environment, boy, oh boy, the chances of long-term recovery go through the roof.
Yeah, it's slightly easier to stay sober while you're in a while you're in a treatment center.
Well,
it's slightly easier.
It's slightly
when
easier.
you go out on the street, that's what it gets
that's
more
what
difficult.
I always joke. And again, we have some of the finest treatment providers in the country, in the world, here in South Florida.
Absolutely.
And they do incredible work. But as we know, that's kind of the triage. You can't get you got to give people the tools they're going to use.
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to go use the tools. So I joke, I call it the bubble wrap. Treatment's amazing. You are bubble wrapped, you are fed, you are loved, you have the best therapy in the world. Mm-hmm. You're creating a culture, you're making connections. Yeah. Amazing. We can no longer have that. And that was great. Now what? That was great. Here's what's next with you, and how can we support you in that? This is where we lose people. That's why the revolving door, and they call it, they think it's a negative. That's like, oh, this is just a ploy to get people. It's like, no, because as a thank you, they've built a system that works in this vein that hasn't connected to this system, which hasn't even been created yet. So we all have to do better work together.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think, when
you think with treatment is only 30 days, 45
30,
days?
45, whatever. It's
a stopgap. It's a stopgap.
It's a snap of time.
You got that moment.
Right.
But then when you step out, that's when the work has to happen, and the support needs to be there. And without that, you just floundering.
Well, let's this way. You've done so much hard work in that stretch of time.
Sure.
Now we got to help you continue to do good work. You can't just train someone and then not continue to give them tools.
Are you telling me you cannot turn around a lifetime of habits in 30 days? What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with me?
I mean, you think about every area of your life is affected when you have an addiction problem, a mental health problem, even. Every area of your life, your relationships, your work, all of it. Even how to get up in the morning and take care of yourself.
Sure.
Simple things.
Yeah.
You can't retrain a human being to be a human being in 30 days.
No. And by the way, you give them
the tools so that they know where to go. So it's like, I went to college so I can learn how to look in the manual to know what I need to do when I'm out in the world.
Sure.
That's what we're doing. We're sending them out. We're saying, okay, now you've got these meetings, you got these counselors, you got this, you got that.
That's the what.
You have to utilize it.
But here's a question. How do I do that?
That's the thing.
So that's where
it's easy to say I'm going to do it.
It's like, look, there's a lot of things that I'd be a lot better at if I did exactly the way I said I should do it.
Right.
I'd be a way better bass player. Anyways, but you think about this thing about housing, right? If you are creating, and there's consistency in it, because there's a standard, a higher standard. Recovery community centers, we hold it to a standard. Our good friend Rick Riccardi, he's been a leader in this for forever, And what was his? And hats off to my good friend John Hewlick when he came down from Drug Czar, New Jersey. He comes here. We have one of the leading people in this space in Palm Beach County, bringing that idea of recovery centric thinking. treatment, not devaluing treatment in any way, but we got to stop being treatment centric to recovery centric, with treatment being a key piece for many individuals on that road in recovery.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that can enter recovery that never see a treatment center. They might hit a meeting.
And there's some people actually, it would not benefit them to be in treatment.
No, and
everybody's a little bit different.
And okay, this is where we get the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
Individual. It's the ultimate space where if you don't value and understand the individual, none of that. There's no cookie cutter.
Now, Mike, I'll tell you, if I pull up ads for almost every treatment center in Florida, it's going to have the same term in there, individualized programs. Yeah,
and but how
basically that's not possible.
No.
Because everybody's in these groups, and these groups are all the same. You get time with your therapist.
Yeah.
On average, an hour a week.
Yeah.
An hour. Sometimes it's 50 minutes or 45 minutes.
Right.
That's your individual time. Yeah. Everything else is cookie cutter. And I don't mean cookie cutter in a bad way. I'm just saying it's a program. It's set up.
That's right.
And what they're saying to you is, okay, we're going to treat you like you for 1 hour, but then the rest of the time you got to step in line and just do what everybody else does. That's where we fall short. But obviously, I understand a treatment center would not stay in business long if they had to individualize every program.
No, and there's a value to, and again, all hats off. And I know the work that I do with our treatment, and I run a group or two. I think I crested the 30,000 hours of groups this past year.
Wow.
And that's what, from kids to everywhere in between over the last 30 years.
It's fulfilling, isn't it?
But it's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
If you structure that group for what it is, yes, there are therapeutic goals for therapeutic groups, but you got to look at group as building culture. If you are bringing something that's building a group culture where it's not just sit in a chair, tell your story, move on, it is, how are all of you connected? How are all of your experiences informing where you're at now? And how can you create even if this is just practice for how you create your own groups out of here? Cool.
Right.
You don't know who's going to be in there. You have no idea. That's why I always tell groups, like, you would not have planned this group, So, but we're here. So now what? And that's where you get the action. And that's where you take that idea and you then take that to a recovery residence. You take that to a recovery community center. You take that to now you start building these cultural communities. Now we start seeing something happen. People care about each other. People are listening to each other. Yeah, we're working on ourselves, but I can't do this in a vacuum, And I think that's the exciting stuff. That's the stuff that I
like that.
We don't lose, we had to get pushed past a lot of nefarious stuff. And we all know what it was, 6-7 years ago. I mean, and I hate to say the word industry, but it was just rife with charlatans and criminals.
And not everybody got into it with bad intentions.
No,
in fact, most of them had good intentions.
No,
maybe a couple of bad eggs. We know that.
And again, being from Maine and coming to Florida, it was like we're always good about. We always joked that Florida was, always number one at doing the worst.
Well, as long as we're number one at something,
they were number one at something, Florida man. And but it's an interesting thing now is that people still may have that perception, but especially in South Florida and Florida as a whole, they're the leaders in how to do it right.
I think so too. Now, are you still going to find a bad egg here and there? Yes.
Yeah. Are you going to find a shady car salesman somewhere? I wonder. Are you going to find a shady real estate
person? I used to sell cars, believe it or not. Believe it or not, yes. But I agree with you.
Well, I mean, look, there's someone out there. I've tried to be scammed 3 times this week.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good week. I'm doing well. It's only tried 3 times. That's a good week. But the good thing is now we're also aware of it. It's not like it's overwhelming everybody and now you have to react. Everybody knows and we respond accordingly. Our state attorney's office, under Dave Ehrenberg, Al Johnson, what they did to create that environment to let's clean this up, but let's not shut it down, right? Mm-hmm. They got rid of a lot of them. They shut down with 134 individuals. I mean, people were rightfully going to jail for crimes that they committed. Absolutely. Does it ever going to bring a kid's life back? No, but it's someone saying, look, this is not what it's about. And there were so many people that were in it long before that. They're like, this is what we've been telling you. This is what we could do. How many? We don't even know, but somewhere between 75 and 80,000 people in Palm Beach County living in long-term recovery. That's That's something.
And I think you're right. I think almost a call to action for our recovery communities to say, hey, maybe we need to lock arms every once in a while and show some support for each other and for the new people coming out.
And the people, by the way, now add all
and the
those
people
in
watching
recovery,
from the gutter.
But think about this. Think of the people in recovery. Now add in their loved ones, their friends, their coworkers. That's a constituency of consequence. And if you think about, and I'm going to go political for a second, not politics bad, but civics 101. Civics.
Politics bad, coffee good.
Coffee
All
good.
Right, go ahead.
If you follow elections, all elections are close these days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and voter turnout, except for certain things, is very low.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you take a community where, say, a mayoral or a commissioner seat is 60, 180 votes one way or the other. And you have a pro-recovery candidate, and you can mobilize pro-recovery voter base, you move the political needle like that. And it's about that idea of getting engaged, staying informed, and making a difference. And you can make a difference in so many different ways. Even just being present for someone in recovery for the time of need, no brainer. But there are deeper levels that can do this. And that's where, especially in the county and under John's leadership, certainly it's that idea. How do we get from screaming about it to really digging into what's needed to be done, and then put a laser focus on how to achieve that through policy, through procedure. You got to make sometimes the boring stuff to get the sexy stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Because you need
it's not
structure. You need
and
base.
It's long. Look, this to get to where we are. We were just discussing it. It's taken us 6 years, and for some, it's like, wow, that's a lot. It's like, yeah, but you know what? If it took us 16 years, but we got to where we were at, worth every minute.
Absolutely,
worth every minute.
Absolutely, moving in a positive direction.
Absolutely. And by the way, as we know how government works, that's lightning speed.
That's
6 years. Good gosh, we're flying.
Well, unfortunately, we've fallen into a system of our government, whether it's Democrat, Republican, or whatever, where there's not a whole lot of this is what we can do. There's a whole lot of this is what they're doing.
Right.
And it's a lot of finger pointing and blaming, and we all fall into it. Even I, can be swayed. It's like, oh, look what they did. They're horrible. It's like, I'm not a fan of this guy. I'm not a real fan of that guy. I think the person who should be president will never run for president because they're too smart to take that stupid job.
As they like to say, we don't put our best and brightest forward. They're too busy doing better things for people. But it's funny you mention that too. But I will say that I've never seen, of all the issues that we do this on, the one thing that has crossed the aisle more than anything else is substance addiction and behavioral health. That really, there is not much wiggle room between the 2 points of view because guess what? It doesn't matter what is on your what color you're wearing or what animal you follow. Every single person there, it doesn't change. Either it's them, someone they know, or it's in their family. And I've sat with both sides of the table, leadership in both. They both have the same stories. They're both looking for solutions. So in this space, I don't care who wins what and this and that. We're all going to work on this together. And I think that's, I'm going to be banging around Tallahassee and all kinds of good stuff, especially for FAR and other things. But this issue never, ever, ever gets to sit on one side or the other. It cannot.
And that's a bonus. That is really a bonus. Take a look that way. We got a friend. We got a friend in the studio.
Friend in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. Now you just taken kind of the reins at FAR, just starting to get on the horse and
I've been woven into the team because they have one heck of a team from their board to the staff they have that really, as I like to say, it's not about leading from the front sometimes, it's leading aside,
Yeah.
And
we lost a great guy in John a couple years ago.
Absolutely. Just a wonderful person.
Started a lot of programs, had some progress. And then it's just been kind of finding its footing after that.
Well, like anything.
And now I think with the board that's there and what you're going to be doing, I think we're fine. And there was a couple of great people that are there doing the work.
Oh, that's amazing.
A couple of great.
Heidi and Josh. I'm throwing
Heidi
it to
and Josh, great Chris, people. They've been in here. and they've done some work with me, and I think they're fantastic.
Unbelievable. And I think that's if you don't have that to start, then you're spinning your wheels. So, everybody, I'm also a big fan of letting people show their strengths to the best of their ability. And if you have a certain strength, I'm not going to hold you back from blowing that up. I want to that you can give, especially if it's something that you care about and you're passionate about. And we do that if you let people run with it. I'm there to keep guardrails on. I'm not there to put any. I'm not micromanagement and me do not fit well together.
No,
not either giving it or being it.
You like empowering people.
Empowering people.
Yeah, let me energize you and empower you because you can do this.
Yeah.
Now I'll go do my things.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell everybody, and it's going to make your work either your work worse or better.
Even better.
So hopefully it makes it worse, just so I can bug you a little bit. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, everybody, if you're FAR accredited sober living or sober house or whatever you might be, if you are FAR accredited, going into the new year, make sure you touch base with FAR. Let them know how you're doing and see if they got anything new going on. If you need questions, that's what they're there for. Ask questions. If you're thinking about opening a house, before you go buy property, go talk to these guys. Yeah. There's some areas that are not a good idea to get involved in. Some townships that are not real good to operate in. There's those simple ideas, plus the fact that what if you already had a structure before you started spending your money?
That's it.
Then you could decide if it's what you want to do, because a lot of people, they get deep in the money before they realize how much is involved in really running the place.
Well, and I think they get deep in the money thinking that there's money. It's like, no, guys, this is a different world here, gang.
Can it be profitable? Yes.
Well,
but
absolutely.
It's not the kind of thing. It's going to be it's a long road, and there's a lot of structure you got to put together.
But unlike being just a property owner and a landlord, your returns for the difference you're making in someone's life far outweigh anything you'll make financially.
It really should be. Absolutely.
And I think, and that, by the way, thanks. Scott, he's hired. He's going to plug FAR now. He does it much better than I do.
We're going to be doing shows.
Remember.
As a matter of fact, I think that you and I are going to develop a show.
We're going to do a show
dedicated to improving treatment, and it can be sponsored. It'll be a FAR program, we'll call it.
Yes,
we'll do something, and because you and I both have the same idea about. Listen, I know some of the things I say are going to rub people the wrong way. I think that we need a lot less victimization of addiction, and a lot more empowerment to change.
Absolutely.
Spend less time telling me how you don't have control, and a lot more time telling me about you have access to all the power you need to do anything you want to do.
And we're listening, and we're building the community that's needed.
Absolutely.
And I like you said too, and by the way, all those that are out there that are FAR certified, and we thank you for that, and we want to grow that because there's been a lot of work in the last year or so to create that great environment for recovery housing. And most importantly, a house is a house. As we say, a house is not a home until it's a home. We got to have people in it, right?
Right.
And those individuals that are there at that time in their life, you are changing their lives. That goes without saying. This was one of the most important things. So it's both ways. It's not only do we want to hear from you, but one of my goals is that, it's called the Sunshine Special. Not to go back musky on us, but I want to get around Florida. And if we're not communicating with our folks out there,
right,
how good am I going to do this work? So as I tell people in group, they find out what I do. First of all, people find out what I actually do out in the community. I'm doing a group. They're like, what are you doing here? Like, A, I love you. B, it's inside out, outside in. Mm-hmm. How good am I out there if I'm not listening to what is actually needed? And how good am I in here if I can't take what you have out and make a difference out there?
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with me. I've been blessed to be a vessel. That's it. That's all I got. And so we do that with our most essential indicator of long-term recovery. Boom. We tie that in with our recovery community centers, most importantly, our recovery community organizations. Don't forget that those RCOs are built ground up. That is grassroots. The recovery voice it doesn't exist without it. It's created by the recovery community and those that care and love about them. They're the ones that create. You don't need to have a recovery community center to have the best RCO in town. We've been blessed, especially in Palm Beach County, that we get to do things at the parallel level. And we're Delray, pbchub.org, get there. Get in there, talk to Faith, talk to Val, talk to Yanni, get in there, all right? And we're coming to Riviera Beach. That's in development right now. We already have our space, and we're going to Belglade as well. So we're going to, that whole movement's happening. It's happening.
I think that's great. And
how many plugs can I get in one show?
Well, I really, but you're plugging, but you're telling people what's available. There's people in recovery out there that don't even know what an RCO is. They don't know it exists a block away from where they're sitting and hurting. They don't know it's there. We need to make sure. So going into this year, I'm making a commitment to you and to FAR and to the recovery community that we will do a podcast monthly or twice a month or once a month. And we're going to be pointing out what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where people can get help. If you'll commit to it, I'll commit
I'm
to
committed.
it. We'll get it done. All right.
By the way, this is not a gym membership we're agreeing to.
That's right.
We do this.
That's right.
We like to do this. We have this. I feel guilty. We haven't been doing this.
This is service, though, because people don't know what's available. And you know what? And the one thing is that with Scott and Mica on the air, tune in because you never know what's going to come out of our mouths.
Right.
And it's not always going to be right or appropriate or perfect.
Or recovery centric.
It's, yeah.
We can go down. Trust me. We want to go down some rabbit holes.
Wait till you get us both in a bad mood one day. That'll be fun.
In a bad mood. We're in a good mood, and we pick the right album or the wrong album.
But yeah,
tune in next week. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, right here.
We're gonna create our Florida Recovery podcast right here, and this is gonna be great. So,
absolutely.
So we'll work on that, and right after the first year, we'll let you know what we're doing. In the meantime, good luck with FAR.
Thank you.
They're a great organization. Adding you to FAR is like the perfect marriage. Your energy, your excitement, your dedication is really, really needed. Because without the energy, it just becomes very flat. And we need to be energized about this. This is saving lives. Everything we do is important.
This is the most important mission quite frankly, as a country. If we lose generations of young people, we have no future.
Absolutely.
Because as I like to tell those groups of kids, and I say, how many times have been told that you are the future? I'm like, yeah, you're right. We know that's going to happen, but guess what? You're the now. So if we're losing them now, I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah. And I'm tired of burying people.
Yep.
I am tired of saying goodbye to people. Yeah. One is too many.
One is too many.
It's never going to be good enough, but we're going to try to make it better. That's all we could do. And with the holidays, I want to remind everybody, you're going to be spending time with family and friends. Maybe somebody you haven't seen in a while. If they're suffering, if they have something going on, make a phone call. Don't wait. Don't say, well, I'll call after the first of the year. We've got game changers out there, people. We can't afford to do this whole, we'll drink through the weekend and then we'll get you help. We can't afford to do it anymore. If somebody you know is suffering from high depression or anxiety or any kind of mental health disorder, if they have an addiction or alcoholism that is raging, get help. The greatest gift you can give anybody is a shot at recovery.
100%.
Just don't wait. And if you are feeling bad, don't wait till it gets really bad. The minute if you feel a little bit off, schedule extra time with your sponsor, with your friends, go bowling, go do something fun. Take a walk, go outside, make sure you're getting fresh air.
You won't freeze in Florida.
You will not. You will not. I mean, I got my skis out because I'm kind of hopeful.
Yeah,
but
it's been a little chilly. Like
it looks like we're not going to dip below 58. So
that's brisk. That's bracing.
I know. Everybody gets to pull their Uggs out and wear their Uggs.
Uggs.
Uggs
Why? Why?
I have no idea.
That's a show. In the in-between show, we're going to have that show. Why Uggs?
You know, we can add. I used to do this thing, Scott's Curiosities, where I'd ask questions about life. We can certainly throw some things in there and have a little fun too.
Yeah.
But we're going to put this together, folks. Again, Sober Life Podcast. We wishing you happy holidays for you and your family. And, take a moment and remember every day, do 2 nice things for yourself, 1 nice thing for somebody else. Never go wrong. All right, Mica, final word before the holiday?
Listen to this, man. No, have a great, safe holiday, everybody. Be there for each other. Happy holidays.
Take care. We'll catch you next time right here on Sober Life Podcast.